All right, let's jump right into this explainer, because today we are looking at a phenomenon that is fundamentally changing how we experience the web. We're unpacking a concept that has rapidly moved from the weird, obscure fringes of the internet right into the center of serious academic debate. We're talking about a profound shift in who, or honestly what, is creating the content we consume every single day.
I mean, are you the only human left online? It sounds totally like the premise of a sci-fi movie, right? But everyday internet users are increasingly feeling like they're just scrolling through a digital ghost town. If you felt a strange, eerie sense of repetition on your social media feeds lately, or noticed that search results are getting way less helpful and a lot more artificial, well, you are absolutely not alone. There is a very real, heavily data-backed reason for this.
To understand this massive shift, we've got to talk about the dead internet theory. Now, this concept actually started out as a fringe idea on message boards, places like WizardChan, back around 2021. But recently, it's gained serious mainstream and academic attention, mostly thanks to the huge boom in generative AI. At its core, the theory asserts that organic human activity on the web has been vastly displaced by bots and algorithmically curated content. But how we actually interpret that displacement makes all the difference.
Now, researchers like Hal Burgle and Yoshija Walter are super careful to separate the wild, paranoid conspiracy stuff from the very real, observable surge in AI-generated content. We really have to distinguish between the strong version of the theory, which is basically a conspiracy featuring coordinated plots by global elites, aliens, or AI trying to keep us trapped in a fake internet, and the leaner version. This leaner version drops all the paranoia and just focuses entirely on verifiable academic reality. It looks at the massive rise of algorithmically generated content and how incredibly difficult it's becoming to tell what's human and what isn't.
So, to put this into perspective, according to a 2023 report by the security firm Imperva, nearly half of all internet traffic is already entirely automated. Yeah, 49.6%. And a massive driver of this recent spike is simply bots scraping data all across the web to train large language models and other AI systems. Think about that for a second. We are quite literally sharing the internet 50-50 with machines right now.
And if you think that's wild, get this. The Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies predicts that if these AI models fully take off, by the years 2025 to 2030, up to 99% of online content could be AI-generated. 99%. That means human-created content could soon become this tiny, almost completely invisible fraction of the entire digital universe. Section 1. Signs of automated activity and AI slop.
So how does this actually show up in our daily browsing? Well, you have probably seen these signs of automated activity, a phenomenon researchers are now calling AI slop. This is basically low-quality, artificially generated media that's completely displacing genuine human content in your social media feeds. We've all seen those hyper-repetitive spam chains on X, where bots just simultaneously post variations of "I hate texting." Or on Facebook, right? There have been these massive viral trends of AI-generated flight attendants, or just incredibly bizarre images like Shrimp Jesus, which, yes, literally meshes depictions of Christ with crustaceans. And they somehow garner hundreds of thousands of automated amen comments from other bots. It is wild.
Academic Thomas Summerer hits the nail on the head here, perfectly capturing the absolute absurdity of this trend. He points out that just as Jesus was supposedly the messenger for God, Shrimp Jesus is the messenger for the fatal system we've maneuvered ourselves into. It represents a web that is totally decoupled from human intent, just churning out endless, bizarre variations to hack algorithmic engagement. It's existing in a state of, as he calls it, exponential metastasis.
Section 2. Adapting to the bots, platforms, and search engines. To deal with this flood, we are seeing a totally chaotic, fragmented landscape across all the major platforms. Some are frantically trying to purge the AI trash. Google, for example, has had to actively adjust its search engine to de-rank sites that feel like they were created for search algorithms instead of actual people. But on the flip side, Meta and TikTok are actively leaning into it. They're integrating artificial users into the online experience, pitching virtual influencers to ad agencies, or using Meta AI to auto-reply to Facebook group posts. And meanwhile, YouTube engineers have actually coined a term for their biggest fear. They call it the inversion. It's the very real fear that their detection algorithms might one day treat fake computer-generated views as the default and misclassify real human views as the fakes. The massive risk here is deeply, deeply systemic. As bots powered by large language models like ChatGPT start interacting with each other across platforms, researchers anticipate they could create endless closed loops.
These self-replicating prompts basically mean bots are just talking to bots, creating an entirely synthetic culture and a flood of spam that human users are just completely powerless to disrupt.
Section 3. Algorithmic governance and moderation. The reality we face is that human moderators simply cannot keep up with the massive scale of daily content anymore. So platforms have to rely on AI models just to govern speech. Some systems flag content for human review, which is known as a human-in-the-loop model, while others just execute fully automated blocking. But as research into state-controlled censorship systems in China reveals, while AI is highly efficient, it is heavily flawed when it comes to interpreting human nuance. AI really struggles to accurately read disguised dissent, satire, and coded language. For example, users evade censors by substituting banned words with homophones or creative misspellings, like using May 35th. Because AI operates purely on algorithmic pattern matching, it is highly prone to overblocking completely neutral, historical, or academic content, while simultaneously underblocking these constantly evolving human circumvention tactics.
Section 4. The collapse of trust. Ultimately, what does this leaner, verifiable version of the dead internet theory mean for human trust? Well, the real-world consequences are deeply unsettling. It is not just about annoying spam anymore. A study in the Journal of Cancer Education explored the psychological impact on vulnerable people who are seeking genuine connection in online cancer support forums. Imagine pouring your absolute heart out about a terrifying diagnosis, receiving a highly empathetic, perfectly written response, and then realizing you've been talking to a bot. The loss of trust in that moment is profound.
Beyond support groups, this absolute flood of artificial content represents a profound threat across our entire society. Researchers are highlighting huge threats to academic classrooms, where just distinguishing student work from AI is getting incredibly difficult. Linguistic communities might actually see their languages shifted by the massive influx of LLM-generated text. Ultimately, the rise of AI slop threatens the fundamental way we trust online communication, casting a shadow of a doubt over literally every digital interaction we have. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We're already seeing apps like Social AI, which are purposefully designed to isolate you in an echo chamber, chatting only with AI bots with zero human interaction. On the total opposite end of the spectrum, the early social web pioneer Dig just had to shut down its recent reboot specifically because of an unprecedented bot problem. So as genuine online spaces collapse under bot traffic and new platforms actively isolate us with artificial companions, we really have to ask ourselves, are we watching the internet die? Or is it just evolving into something entirely non-human?